Will Apple finally add transit to its Maps app? Those security questions are anything but, and Facebook Messenger for your not really friends. It's Thursday, May 21st, and this is Crunch Report. Okay, so what's the name of your first pet? What's your mother's maiden name? In what city were you born? You know what I'm doing, right? I'm asking security questions, those questions that we all have to answer when we're locked out of our bank accounts or some other service because we forgot our passwords. Security questions are supposed to provide more security as an additional layer, but hey, guess what? Lo and behold, they really don't. This is according to a new study by Google's security team, which looked at hundreds of millions of these questions and their answers from Google users who've tried to recover their Google accounts. The team says secret questions are neither secure nor reliable enough to be used as a standalone account recovery mechanism. So two problems. So if I say I was born in Santa Cruz, California, somebody could look me up online and easily find out that that's true. If I answer that I was born somewhere else, I'm more likely to forget my own lie later on. So it doesn't really work either way. Some other interesting statistics. Guess what 20% of Google users answer is their favorite food? Pizza! And in 10 guesses or less, there's a 21% chance of guessing a Spanish speaker's father's middle name. Also not very secure. So what's the answer for networks to be more secure? Should they require more security questions? Strength in numbers, right? Google's team says no. Instead, site owners should use SMS backup codes, secondary email addresses, and pretty much anything else to securely authenticate users and really only use those security questions if everything else has failed. So when Apple replaced Google Maps with its own Apple Maps as the default navigation app in iOS 6 back in 2012, remember? The service was less than perfect. Users complained of bad directions, even directions that were flat out wrong. Something else that was missing, transit directions. If you live in a city or you don't have a car or both, buses and train routes are often the directions you're actually looking for. Since that time, Apple has acquired both Hopstop and Embark. Those are both transit mapping and directions apps for iOS. But until now, we haven't really seen those products integrated into Apple Maps. 9to5Mac is reporting today that Apple is planning transit directions in the native Maps app with iOS 9 and was originally supposed to be bundled with iOS 8 last year, but got held off. The directions are said to offer trip planning plus travel times for buses and trains and subway transit routes, along with a special map view for local transit stops, in addition to its standard hybrid and satellite views. As a city dweller myself, who does not own a car, I say, please launch this at WWDC. Thank you in advance. Facebook Messenger is a great chat app. I love it. I actually really like stickers. Well, I don't know why. If you use Facebook anyway, and you have a lot of friends you want to chat with, Messenger works great. But what about messages from people that aren't your friends yet? Who's this person messaging me? Is their name familiar? That happens, right? Messenger will now surface publicly shared biographical info from a person who might be getting a hold of you, like which city this rando lives in, what their job is, stuff like that. And then you might be reminded, oh yeah, that Eric guy, I met him at that show. I do know him, this is okay. It also helps eliminate the whole, how do I know you again, part of the conversation that nobody likes doing. It's not just for strangers either. Messenger can pull the same information for Facebook friends that you might not happen to have ever messaged with before, and it kind of jogs your memory. It only shows you Facebook info that a contact has already made public, so there aren't privacy issues here. It's all whatever's front-facing on their own page. Facebook recently released an Android app called Hello, we talked about it here on Crunch Report, that displays information about the caller, so this type of chat ID is a natural extension of that. Quizup, which you probably have played because it's a massively popular trivia game, joined Apple's App Store back in 2013, is now still a trivia game, but also a social network trying to make the most of its extremely huge user base. In fact, over 33 million users worldwide, playing about 7 million games per day, with the average user spending about half an hour each day playing games. That's great engagement. The Quizup database now has more than 12,000 different topics, so there's a little something for everyone. It's kind of like a social network. In fact, the team says that based on topic, it started noticing that its users were making friends with each other. So Quizup is just capitalizing on that. It's now a social network with people search, user profiles, comment threads, forums, even private sort of DM chatting. And it also just happens to be a built-in trivia game. Users can search for a specific type of person through People Search. So, for example, maybe I want to test my political knowledge against somebody who actually lives in Washington, D.C. For non-mobile folks, the company is also launching Quizup for desktop as well. Grandma's getting in the game. Last fall, PayPal launched its instant checkout service called One Touch, which allows customers to check out from an online merchant without having to repeatedly enter their username and password. Today, in an event in San Francisco, the company announced that One Touch is being expanded to support all merchants using the e-commerce platform BigCommerce, even if the buyer doesn't have the PayPal app installed. One Touch was originally supposed to let customers only have to enter all those credentials once. You know, the little bank number and the whole thing and the credit card and the number on the back. It's annoying. The customer's information then is shared automatically with any app that's supported. PayPal's new partnership with BigCommerce, which, if you haven't heard of it, is a company that powers the e-commerce storefronts for a lot of online merchants, 90,000 of them actually, lets these merchants offer one-touch functionality to their customers as well, so it just expands the user base. Despite a lot of competition in mobile payments, PayPal, which is kind of the OG company for online transactions, is still growing pretty healthily. Back in April, the company reported its net total payment volume had increased 18% to $61 billion, and that it added 3.6 million new accounts in the past quarter. And that is Crunch Report for today. I'm Sarah Lane. Our show airs Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on TechCrunch.com. We will see you tomorrow. TGIF.